By golly, it's amazing. It sounds like something you'd hear on the radio.
Presenting the transcription feature.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson.
It's 8:30 New York time. Time to wake up, America, and stump the expert.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Johnny Dollar.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve.
And now meet Dick Calmer as Boston Blackie.
It's the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show, presented transcribed by the makers of Rexall drug products.
And now it's time to meet the men from the ministry.
The Armed Forces Radio and Television Service presents the Bob Hope Show with Les Brown and his band of renown. And yours truly, Bill Goodwin. And now here he is, Bob Hope.
Greetings, I'm Kevin Lauderdale. Let's start off with some more highly stylized domestic comedy. Here's some Vic and Sade. These are some good ones. They actually include the ads. You don't often get the ads. These are both from 1939. One of them, where Mr. Gumpox offers Sadie a stall to use for storing stuff. We only know it's from 1939. That's all we know. The historical records sort of break down. And of course, in both of these, Vic and Sade engage in their usual highly stylized language, with Vic and his wife calling each other, and especially their son Rush, by a near infinite number of nicknames. The first episode centers on the threat to Vic's lodge regalia. Remember, Vic is a member of the fraternal organization. It's not the Masons, not the Shriners, not the Elks, but the Sacred Stars of the Milky Way. And he has various associated certificates, a sword, a tunic, a plumed hat, a robe, and a whole library. 500 is a card game similar to euchre or bridge, involving bidding and trick-taking. From 1939, Mr. Gumpox offers Sadie a stall. And from June 13th, 1939, Porch collapses, Rotten takes the blame.
And now get ready to smile again with radio's home folks, Crisco's Vic and Sade. Say, by the way, if someday soon you folks pick up a dictionary and find that the definition of cake has been changed, don't be surprised. You see, since new Sure Mix Crisco with its 3 wonderful cake-making improvements has been introduced, folks have changed their ideas about cakes. Why, cakes that you used to think were perfect wouldn't have any showing at all alongside of the higher, lighter, tenderer cakes and better-eating cakes you can now get with new Sure Mix Crisco. Now, remember this, Sure Mix isn't just a new name for Crisco. Sure Mix is a description of the vital change that has been made in this pure, all-vegetable shortening. Sure Mix means just what it says. With this vitally improved Crisco, all your ingredients now mix more thoroughly, more completely. You're sure to get batter that's really satin smooth. And because new Sure Mix Crisco gives you this entirely new type of cake batter, we can now definitely promise you that simply by using Sure Mix Crisco in your regular cake recipe, you'll get a better cake than with any other shortening we ever heard of. And what's more, and this is important to your family, your Sure Mix Crisco cakes will have a melt-in-the-mouth goodness your cakes have never had before. These promises are all supported by hundreds of careful baking tests made in our own kitchens. Now, don't put off getting new Sure Mix Crisco. Don't let your family miss out on the wonderful new taste thrill Crisco now brings you. Change to Sure Mix Crisco today. When your cakes rise higher, lighter, tenderer, when your family tells you they're better eating cakes than you ever made before, you'll certainly be glad I told you about new Sure Mix Crisco. And by the way, when you change to Sure Mix Crisco, just ask for Crisco as usual. The new Sure Mix Crisco is packed in the same Crisco can with the same familiar label. So don't put it off. Get new Sure Mix Crisco today. Well, sir, it's late afternoon as we enter the small house halfway up in the next block now. And here in the living room we find Mr. and Mrs. Victor Gook. Sade is established on the Davenport, engaged with a piece of needlework, while Vic, who has just this moment arrived home from the office, seats himself at the library table. There's about him a certain hostility. Listen.
Corporal Johnson, old chum, I'd like to nip an idea of yours in the bud.
What's this now?
I had a brief chat with Soda Fountain just now.
Where is he, out and back?
Yeah, loading up his coaster wagon.
He tell you about Mr. Gumpox's lovely offer?
He told me about Mr. Gumpox's lovely offer and also vouchsafed a remark or two concerning some possessions of
Hey,
mine.
now, listen. Keep your shirt on.
I have no intention of removing it. Stovepoker mentioned my lodge junk. I didn't question him closely, but I gathered it was your intention.
Goodness gracious, Vic, you act like you're almost mad.
Not a bit of it. However,
Fella
I
comes
do...
home from the office and gets mad at his wife before she's even got time to choke Billy Patterson. Except for saying hello, I haven't opened my mouth yet.
You evade the issue. I'm not mad. I only wish to clear up a matter I discussed briefly with Pigeonhole out in the backyard just now.
Mom. Here's Pigeonhole himself. Wait till he gets here and we'll see what the big commotion's all about.
I'm all loaded up, Mom.
What?
I got all the stuff from the basement piled on my wagon.
All right.
Shall I go get the junk from upstairs you want?
Yeah, but stick around a minute. Your father's all bothered. What'd you tell him out in the backyard that made him come racing in like a tiger to where I was afraid he'd lunge at my throat?
I don't recall racing in like a tiger. Nor do I recall having any impulse to lunge at anybody's throat. I suggest we quit beating around the bush. Broomhandle here said you were planning on rounding up my lodge equipment and taking it over
I'll
to
explain this. Just look at you make yourself mad. You've talked yourself into a regular rage. Like Wassy Feeler there in Dixon.
Subject has now been changed to Wassy Feeler there in Dixon.
Remember Wassy Feeler there in Dixon?
No.
Used to make himself fighting mad just by sitting down and thinking a few minutes. And the man back in Dixon we're talking about, Willie. He'd be happy as a lark after supper of an evening and go sit in the hammock and get to thinking about stuff and get so angry he'd come stomping in the house and break the furniture.
What kind of stuff did he think about?
Oh, any kind of stuff. Taxes, the government, his friends, his business.
It's a trifle difficult to pin you down, Dr. Fleming. Can't we get right to the root of this? Rush tells me your estimable garbage collector, Mr. Gumpox, put one of his stalls at your disposal. He tells me that
Sweetest
you
thing
want...
I ever heard of. Offered it right out of a clear sky. Miss Gook, he says, there's 2 fine, big, roomy stalls over in my stable. Howard only occupies one, and the other's going to waste. You're perfectly welcome to use the space for the trash that's cluttering up your basement and attic.
So you immediately said you'd bring over your old man's lodge equipment.
I'm not through with what I'm telling, Vic. The stall is clean as a whistle, Miss Gook, he says. And I always padlock the place at night so you won't need to worry about stuff getting stolen. I was grateful as a lion. Who wouldn't be?
Now shall I go upstairs?
Rush is going to cart over 5 or 6 big wagon loads of trash. All them monstrous big frame pictures Uncle Fletcher sent. Tell him some of the things, Willie.
My medicine ball, my collection of nuts, bolts, and washers, them 2 old rocking chairs, your box of
Way it
laxatives.
is, there's not room around here to choke Billy Patterson. Clear out 9 or 10 bushels of rubbish, and we'll have space to tie our shoe in.
Torchlight embarked on some remark about my lodge diplomas. Finish that remark, Torchlight.
Mom said to get your box of lodge diplomas.
You know what I'm going to store away in Mr. Gumpox's lovely clean stable? A whole batch of clothes. I'm going to send Rush over with that old trunk in the attic. I'm going to pack it cram full of my clothes.
Old clothes, I presume.
Old clothes, yes.
I'm still having trouble pinning you down. What I want to make clear is, if anybody dares to lay a hand on any of my lodge equipment, I bet I'll raise such a hullabaloo it won't be healthy for everybody.
Most likely Leland Richards. Leland has some very trivial business he wants to discuss with me, and he said he'd probably attempt to get in touch with me around the middle of the day.
Hello. Yes. Oh, yes, Fred. Fine as silk, thanks. I'll say it's been warm.
Did your mother give you orders to take my lodge stuff and pile it on your wagon and cart it over?
She's trying to hear herself think, please. What was that, Fred? Why, not that I know of. Just a second. You got anything up your sleeve for this evening? Fred feels like 500. Okay? The big muckety-muck says he's wild to play some 500. Yeah. All right. Want to come here? Fine. Fine, Fred. Oh, now listen, don't you dare. You treated last time. No, now, don't you dare. Well, if you're going to be obstinate. Just a second. He's going to bring ice cream. What flavor you want?
Maple.
Rush?
Tutti Frutti.
Can't have two kinds.
Yes, me.
Fred don't like maple or tutti frutti, either one. How about chocolate? Chocolate be all right? Fred, everybody's clamoring for chocolate, Fred. Yeah. All right. All right, fine. We'll see you then around 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, or kind of halfway in around through there. All right, Fred. You bet. You bet, Fred. Goodbye.
What's the use of asking us what kind of ice cream we want if you're determined to get some other kind?
I've told you time and time again, Fred don't care for caramel.
I never said caramel. I said Tutti Frutti.
He's going to bring chocolate. And you with your butterscotch.
Maple.
Fred hates maple.
That's fine. You can hate maple till he gets blue in the face. I want to get back to this other business. Did you tell Flypaper here he could load my lodge equipment in his doggone coaster wagon and hop?
Mr. Gumpox was kind enough and sweet enough to offer to let us use the extra stall in his horse stable.
I know all that. He's the sweetest garbage man in town. I agree. What I'm curious about is...
I don't intend to bother your lodge robe or your boots or your plumed hat.
You don't, huh?
No. Robe and boots and plumed hat can stay right there in the clothes closet.
What do you intend to bother?
That big old awkward box of lodge certificates takes up enough room to shoot a snake. It could be moved over to Mr. Gumpox's extra stall just as well as not. And your great big enormous picture of what's-his-name, too.
I expect you refer to R.J. Kunk?
Yes, where his eyes light up. It weighs 9 tons with all them electric wires hanging down and takes up so much space.
R.J. Kunk, Sadie, is the founder of the sacred stars of the Milky Way.
Oh, so which?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Had you anything else in mind you wish to dump in there with the garbage man's horse in addition to my box of lodge certificates and my framed portrait of R.J. Kunk?
Yes, that pile of lodge magazines on the attic steps. Them lodge books that take up a whole shelf in the bookcase. And all them scepters and crowns and medals and halos and rubbish cluttering up the dresser drawers.
I see.
How about it? Is there any reason why Willie can't pile the whole works on his wagon and take 'em over there and stack 'em up neatly? You can get 'em any time you feel like it, because Mr. Gumpox is going to give us a key to the padlock. It'll be clean as pie. Mr. Gumpox says that extra stall is just spotless. And safe. The doors are locked day and night. Well?
No.
What?
No.
You won't take advantage of this lovely, lovely offer where we can dispose of 18 bushels of trash that takes
my
up...
robe, my plumed hat, my sword, my boots, my lodge certificates, my framed portraits of R.J. Kunk, my scepters, crowns, medals, and halos will all remain exactly where they are.
That's final, huh?
That's finer.
Well, all I've got to say is...
The telephone is ringing.
Probably Leland Richards. He mentioned some extremely trivial matter he wished to discuss with me sometime.
Hello? Oh, yes, Fred. Oh, I see. All right, just a second. Fred just called the drugstore about ice cream, and they're all out of chocolate flavor. What other flavor you want?
Maple.
Told you Fred don't care for maple flavor.
Tutti Frutti.
You don't care for tutti frutti flavor.
Caramel.
Hates caramel.
Butterscotch.
Hates butterscotch.
What don't he hate?
Strawberries. Want strawberries? Fred, Vic and Rush are hollering their heads off for strawberry ice cream. Yeah, strawberry.
Which concludes another brief interlude at the small house halfway up in the next block. And there we leave Crisco's Vic and Sade until the next time.
Attention, please. Have you tried new Sure Mix Crisco yet? If not, then you simply haven't any idea of the miracle of good eating that's waiting for you. This new Crisco brings you 3 new cake-making advantages that will simply astonish you. Now, that's a pretty big promise, I know, but listen. Before Sure Mix Crisco was introduced, hundreds of cakes were made in the Crisco kitchens. Each cake was measured. The Sure Mix Crisco cake baked up higher, as much as 15% higher, depending on the type of cake. And each cake was lighter and tenderer and better eating than even Crisco ever made before. Now, honestly, every minute you put off getting new Sure Mix Crisco, you're missing an awful lot of good eating. So why don't you do what so many other good cooks have done in the last few days and change to new Sure Mix Crisco? You'll find new Sure Mix Crisco at your store in the same familiar Crisco can with the same familiar label. But your first cake will tell you that new Sure Mix Crisco is vitally different. Now, don't forget to listen to Crisco's Vic and Sade the next time. This is Ralph Edwards speaking. And now get ready to smile again with radio's home folks, Crisco's Vic and Sade. You know, I've been doing a little investigating lately. I've been asking husbands about their favorite cakes. Well, one of their favorite cakes is dark, moist chocolate cake covered with a thick fudge icing. They also go for the old-fashioned spicy kind of cake, like applesauce cake. Now, you're probably saying, what's this man up to? Does he want me to make more cakes? Well, I guess you can see right through me, because I do want you to make more cakes. But I want you to make them an easy way, with new, creamier Crisco. Now, I hope you won't let another single day go by without discovering what a real help new Crisco can be to you. Why, it may change all your ideas about cake making. Because, you see, new Crisco is now made by the new gyro churn process, $1 million process that actually pre-creams Crisco. Yes, that means you can mix your Crisco, sugar, and eggs together in one operation. And, boy, your arm's going to be mighty glad not to have any hard creaming to do. And just look at that clock. See the minutes you've saved. And when you open your oven door, what a cake you're going to see. Light as a snowflake, or I'll miss my bet. And when you serve it to your family, it'll melt away just like a snowflake, too. Now, I'll bet that right this minute, every one of you ladies who've baked Crisco cakes for years are nodding your heads. I'll bet you're agreeing Crisco is even grander now, and you're right. For the new gyro churn process beats, whips, and creams Crisco hundreds of times. So the new Crisco comes out creamier than, well, almost creamier than anything you can imagine. Why, one grand cook, Mrs. G.J. Siebel of Long Island, says, quote, I'm a better cake maker than ever now that I'm using the new, faster mixing Crisco, unquote. Well, that's right, Mrs. Siebel, and all you makers of coconut cakes, orange cakes, Lady Baltimore cakes, just try new, creamier Crisco. And you can also depend on it for tender pie crust and really delicious fried foods. Well, sir, it's a few minutes past 9 o'clock in the evening as we enter the small house halfway up in the next block now. And here in the living room we find Mr. and Mrs. Victor Gook abiding quietly at home. They've been playing rummy for the last hour or so, and the game has begun to take on a sluggish, lackluster quality. Listen.
I win.
Let's see your cards. Sure you win. Got 3 queens, 3 deuces, and a 4, 5, 6, and 7 of hearts.
I lose interest in rummies after about so long a time. The spades start resembling clubs.
You any quit?
Would you just as soon?
All right. Not much kick to the game when your opponent's half asleep.
I am a little tired. Too early to go to bed?
Courthouse clock struck 9 about 5 minutes ago.
I bet I sleep so sound tonight you could send my undershirt to Detroit, Michigan Post.
Paper states showers sometime before morning. I hope they hurry along and cool things off.
Oh. Deal out a few more rummies. Might as well be doing something.
Okay.
Kind of funny that Davis boy storming in here this evening, wasn't it?
I've learned that there's nothing extraordinary in the most ununderstandable behavior on the part of 14-year-old boys. Being the father of a 14-year-old boy, I'm tutored in all
Here's your 14-year-old boy now. Raj?
Hi.
Here's a beautiful bouquet of tickets for you, Charlie.
Thanks. Hope I can tell the hearts from the clubs.
The hearts are red, the club's black.
I mean the diamonds from the spades. After so many rummies, I get so I can't keep my mind on what I'm doing.
Davis didn't disturb you when he come after rotten suitcase a while ago, did he?
Not too much. Of course, I had to climb upstairs after.
Well, it helped along the excitement. By George, I never enjoyed such high-class excitement in my life.
What excitement do you have reference to, Sunburn?
Center Street.
Has there been excitement on Center Street? I'm discarding the 6 of clubs.
I can use it in my business. I beat your father 3 times in a row.
And didn't Rooster explain?
Explain what?
About Center Street.
No, what about it?
Rooster never said a word?
He come to the door all out of breath and wanted that big old imitation leather suitcase you borrowed off of his brother. Gov went after it, and he grabbed it and was gone.
Well, I'll be darned.
Why? What happened on Center Street?
A house collapsed.
Ah.
You telling the truth, you don't know about it?
We've been sitting here playing cards ever since around 7:30.
Never heard no noise? Never heard no people yelling?
Never heard a sound. Telephone hasn't even rung. Except for Rooster storming in, it's been quiet as my thumb.
Beats the Dutch.
A house collapsed, you say, Temple Bells?
Yeah.
I collapsed one time myself. I was on the outskirts of Cleveland, Ohio, where I just officiated at a wedding ceremony. After kissing the bride, I pocketed the $5 bill given me by the bridegroom and prepared...
You know that place in the 300 block on South Center with the second-story porch that runs clear around the whole house?
Has it got fragile hedgerows and morning glories and a solid gold belfry which catches the dazzling...
Give me a show, Gov. That place collapsed this evening.
It is a 9 of spades city. I trust it
You
will
were
be
talking about that big boarding house-looking place, Willie.
Sure. It collapsed at 8 o'clock.
What you mean by collapsed?
Fell down.
Ah, a great big monster.
The whole thing didn't fall down. Just that second-story veranda fell down. But to look at it, you'd think the entire house had been hit by a cyclone.
That's the truth?
If it's not the truth, you can send my undershirt to St. Paul, Minnesota, cash on delivery. If it's not the truth...
Was anybody hurt?
Not a soul. And it's the luckiest thing since the bullet that choked Billy Patterson. Why, that second-story veranda weighs tons and tons. It crashed like thunder. Busted the first-floor porch into smithereens. Broke every window in the house. There's chunks of lumber and splinters of wood scattered up and down Center Street for half a block.
You're not exaggerating, are you? You're not making a mountain out of some trivial accident?
No, sir. Hope to die if I've twisted the facts. Hey, why don't you people put on your hat and stroll over there? See for yourself. It's just like I say. Center Street is cluttered up with debris for half a block in both directions.
Well, what happened?
The doggone second-story veranda collapsed from old age. The pillars were weak.
I believe that. Ruthie and I noticed the place just last week when we were walking past. That upstairs porch that circles the house was sagging in half a dozen places.
Sure. It was bound to happen sooner or later. And it happened tonight. I'm surprised you individuals never heard the crash.
Where were you when it happened?
Standing out in front of the By Joe Picture Show. I was in the Society of Bluetooth Johnson. By George, we were in the 300 block on South Center in 2 seconds.
Looks like we did miss some excitement.
Missed half your life. Come on, slap on your hat. We'll go over there.
Oh, it's all over and done with now.
Probably still a crowd of people hanging around, though. No fooling. To look at that house, you'd think it got caught between 9 cyclones.
Uh-huh.
Come on, Gov. You and me will hike the Center Street.
I'd like to beg off, Arthur. It's too warm an evening to work myself up over a porch falling off a house.
Okay.
Certainly a good thing nobody got injured.
Yes, indeed.
I remember the place you're talking about very well. Just last week, Ruthie and I walked past. Seems to me she passed some remark. Look how that old upper-story porch sags or something.
Peculiar Rooster didn't give you the details when he come after Rotten Suitcase. Guess he was too excited.
What was his big hurry for his brother's suitcase when there was so much free entertainment going on?
Oh, gosh. I haven't told you about Rotten yet.
What did Rotten do?
Rotten Davis, Gov, had the most magnificent evening of his entire career.
How so?
He made off to the crowd. It was his fault the house collapsed.
Huh?
You should have seen him. He was running back and forth in front of the ruins screaming. I lost my temper, he kept yelling. I lost my temper. Yeah. He was making a public spectacle out of himself, yeah. 5 minutes after the big crash, about 200 people were on the spot. They didn't know what happened. They just saw this house all busted to pieces and lumber laying around every place. And here was Rotten Davis, tearing his hair and rushing around crazy. I lost my temper, he kept screaming. I lost my temper.
The people got the notion Rotten had lost his temper and torn the whole house down?
Sure, they got that notion.
Oh, my.
It was a magnificent thing to witness. The crowd opened up an alley for Rotten to run back and forth in. And he ran back and forth in it till who laid the chunk. I lost my temper, he hollered. I lost my temper, and look what I've done. Remember now, the house looked like it had been hit by a cyclone. An innocent bystander guess it'd take 9 men, 8 days to do that much damage.
Oh, my.
Rotten Davis seen his opportunity and grabbed it. He had that enormous throng of people in the palm of his hand. If he'd looked tough at any of them, they'd have started for home 90 miles an hour. Oh, it's wonderful. Wonderful, I tell you.
If I had a boy that was such a smarty show-off, I bet I'd...
And Rooster worked hand in glove with him. Rooster deserves 50% of the credit for his brother's sensational hoax.
I was going to inquire, what did Rooster want with the suitcase?
Wanted it to take back to Rotten. It's all plastered up with foreign labels, you know. Foreign labels impress the general public. Soon as Rotten got hold of that suitcase, he started running between the divided crowd of people with it. I told you they separated and left him space to run back and forth in, didn't I?
Yeah.
Made kind of a lane for him. Well, he'd run from one end of the lane to the other. When he got to one end, he'd stop and set down his suitcase. Then he'd give the people a chance to read the foreign labels. Nome, Alaska, London, England, Paris, France, Rotterdam, Holland, Brussels, Belgium, Stockholm, Sweden, and so on. All the time, he kept hollering he'd lost his temper and torn down a house. Then he'd pick up his suitcase and run to the other end of the lane. Do the same thing over again. I lost control of my temper, he screamed. I lost control of my temper and tore down this house in 3 minutes with my bare hands.
His mother ought to take him by the coat collar.
Let me tell you another trick he used to heighten the effect. He was wearing goggles. When he sent Rooster after his suitcase, he also had him stop by home and pick up an aviator's helmet and goggles that used to belong to some friend of his that owned a motorcycle. Oh, it was magnificent, guy.
Bet it was.
Carrying his suitcase all plastered up with foreign labels and wearing an aviator's helmet on his head with the goggles pulled down over his eyes and running back and forth like he'd gone crazy.
I lost my temper. I lost my temper.
Yeah.
For a boy that's almost a grown-up man.
And every once in a while, he'd holler to Rooster. Hey, he'd holler. How many bodies have they found so far? And Rooster, he was back in the shadows, would put on a deep voice and answer, 6 so far, 7 so far, 8 so far. You know.
Ain't he going on 19 years old, Rush?
Rotten? Yeah.
Well, imagine a boy 19 years old behaving.
Mom, he had the most magnificent evening of his entire career.
I'd give him the most magnificent...
Oh, and another feature that was dandy. 3 young ladies he likes were in the crowd. 3 very handsome young ladies he's ambitious to escort to the picture show and places were present.
I bet he's their hero now.
Oh, boy.
You seem to have had just about as satisfactory an evening as Rotten did.
I had a delightful evening. A delightful evening.
Which concludes another brief interlude at the small house halfway up in the next block. And there we leave Crisco's Vic and Sade until the next time. Now, while you're in your store today, why don't you get new Crisco, the new creamier Crisco that's made wonderfully creamy by the amazing new $1 million gyro churn process. Bake a cake for supper tonight. You'll be delighted when you see what an elegant cake you get so quickly and easily the new Crisco way. Why, just listen to what one cooking expert, Mrs. Margaret E. Thomas of New York City says, quote, "It's amazing how easy cake mixing is with creamy Crisco. Crisco blends in a few stirs, cutting out all hard creaming. Yet Crisco cakes are as light as if made the old slow hard way," unquote. Now, that's what one expert says, but let me add that hundreds of cooking experts use new Crisco. In fact, out of 753 teachers in public schools from coast to coast, 9 out of 10 of these teachers said, "We use new Crisco in our cooking classes." So get new Crisco. Try it for cakes, for flaky, tender pie crusts, for crisp, golden fried foods. And don't forget to listen to Crisco's Vic and Sade the next time. This is Ralph Edwards speaking.
For our drama, we have another adaptation of a classic short story, The Man Who Would Be King by Rudyard Kipling. The story was originally published in Kipling's collection, The Phantom Rickshaw and Other Eerie Tales, 1888. This is from the program Escape. Escape was a series that specialized in adventure stories. Some a little weird, some a little eerie, not specifically science fiction-y or fantasy or mystery. They were, escapist fiction, pulp fiction. There is a fantastic film version of this story that was released in 1975, The Man Who Would Be King, directed by John Huston, starring Sean Connery as Dravit and Michael Caine as Peachy Carnahan, with Christopher Plummer as Rudyard Kipling. I recommend it highly if you enjoy this audio adaptation, which is very close to the original short story. Check out the movie. From August 1st, 1948, Escape, The Man Who Would Be King.
Fed up with the everyday grind? Tired out from the summer heat? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape! Escape! designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are making your painful way over the great India desert, alone and dying of thirst, while behind you, pursuing you, are the fanatical Kafirs, who once bowed to you as king, and now call for your life.
Tonight, we escape to India and two soldiers of fortune who pushed fate too far, as Rudyard Kipling told it in his famous story, The Man Who Would Be King.
One Saturday night, it was my unpleasant duty to put the paper to bed alone. It was a pitchy, black night, as stifling as a night can be in India in June. It was very still, save for the ticking of the clock above my desk, which seemed to shatter the black heat of the night as the hands crept toward 3 a.m. And then from the passage outside my door, I heard voices. Well, who's there?
Only us.
And who are you?
Oh, so you don't remember us, eh?
No, I can't
how
say
about the
that...
Jodhpur border, then?
Jodhpur border?
Yeah, and having the authorities turn us back for impersonating newspaper men.
Newspaper
And
men?
then there was the train.
Yeah, off of which you had us thrown, if I remember correct.
Oh, wait. That flaming red hair. That bald head. Oh, Daniel Dravett and Peachy Carnahan.
The same.
Well, what do you two want this time? If it's money, I haven't got it. And if it's a fight, it's too beastly hot.
You can rest yourself easy, sir, because we have come asking for naught except some information.
We've been all over this country, and we've concluded that India isn't big enough for such as Daniel and me.
So, we are going away to be kings.
Kings in our own divine right.
What?
Aye, we shall be kings.
Yeah, we've signed a solemn contract, each to help the other, and neither of us to look at liquor or women until we have become kings.
I've never heard of such a fantastic idea. Now, well, what do you want of me?
Naught but a look at such maps of Kafiristan as you might have about.
Maps of Kafiristan?
That's where we decided to go.
Well, don't you realize that not one single Englishman has ever gone into the Kafiristan mountains and lived to come out again? You're a good deal more likely to become dead men than kings.
Yeah, we'll sure
Anyway,
see.
I don't believe you have the slightest intention of traveling a mile outside of Delhi.
Then you should come down to the Sarai marketplace in the morning, down where the caravans leave for the north.
Now, look, you two. I'm a newsman, not a nomad. Now, why should I come down to that filthy pest hole?
I'm not so sure that you're either.
Well, what do you mean?
You say you're a newsman, but here's the chance to see the start of the greatest story of all time. And you'd pass it up.
Because you're too blasted lazy to get up that early in the morning. Come along, Dravett, me lad.
Yeah, but if you should have a change of heart, come to the Sarai in the morning and see whether we be liars or not.
And so they left, those two lovable scoundrels. And I sat alone in my office, thinking. The kings of Kafiristan. Kings indeed. But then, perhaps, just perhaps, they might pull it off. And it would be something to cable home. And so it was that the next morning I was making my way through the dirty, milling crowds of the Sarai marketplace.
Oh, thieves, robbers, liars, the blessings of Pir Khan upon all pigs, dogs, and perjurers. Who will take the protection of
You should not laugh at him, Sahib.
What?
The witless are under the protection of Allah.
Quite so, boy, quite so. Who is the fellow, anyway?
A mad priest, Sahib, who has arrived only this morning from Ajmer.
I see.
You, Sahib, come look at my camels, loaded with toys to please the eye of an army.
Yeah, now, go about your business. I haven't any use for toys.
These are wondrous toys indeed, Sahib, fit for a king of Kafiristan.
What? My good Lord, Daniel Dravett.
Quiet, come along. I have two camels just beyond the wall here. The blessings of Pir Khan on the gracious Sahib who consents to look at the poor toys of a priest from Ajmer. Over this way.
Where's Carnahan?
Here we are. Permit me to present my servant, Azamir Khan.
At your service, Governor.
Well,
How do you like our disguises? Do they pass?
And if they fool this crowd in the Serai, they're probably good enough to get you across the border, and good enough to get you killed.
Yeah, getting killed is no part of the contract Peachy and me drawed up. Although, perhaps killing fits in with our plans in a different sense. Feel around underneath the toys there in the camel bags.
What? My good Lord, the rifles.
20 brand new Lee Enfields, with ammunition to match.
Yeah, and 20 good reasons to make your death certain. Any Pathan of the hill tribes would kill his own mother to get a rifle.
Now, who would harm? A poor mad priest, Sahib. Allah protects me.
Mad is right.
And so was Lord Clive, and Rhodes, and Bonaparte. Drive out the camels, Peachy. We have a long way to go before we become kings.
Oi, hup!
As I stood and listened to the camel bells fade away in the distance, I wondered if it might not be a glorious thing to go to Kafiristan and be a king. Three years pass in India, much as they pass in any other land. It grows hot, then the rains come, and then the heat again. Some colonel at a hill station puts down an uprising. A new viceroy comes out from London. The paper duly records the death of a sultan in Rajputana, and the trees in the courtyard grow a few feet taller. And finally, time in its circle turned up another night, much like the one 3 years before. Once again, I sat alone in the office, listening to the clock, and waiting for some unimportant item to come over the wire from Europe. It was long after midnight when my office door slowly opened. Well, I say, you might knock first, you know.
Knock? Knock?
Good Lord, man. What's wrong?
You don't know who I am, do you?
No, I haven't the faintest idea. But here, you'd better sit down, old fellow. You're in a bad way.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's a whole year I've been walking. Right here in this very office we settled it. You sitting right there and giving us the maps. And you've been sitting there ever since? 3 years.
No. Man couldn't change that much in 3 years. You're not Peachy Carnahan.
Yes, I was the king of Kafiristan. Me and Daniel Dravot. Real crowned kings we was. Just as true as gospel.
And what in the name of heaven have they done to you, Peachy?
Peachy? I knew Peachy Carnahan once. He's a king. With a real golden crown on his head. So help me, he does. He's dead now.
No. You're Peachy Carnahan. You are. Now you must pull yourself together.
Yes. Pull myself. You've got to keep looking into me eyes. Maybe everything won't go to pieces.
All right. Now, tell me what happened, Peachy.
We left the caravan at Jagdala, and we struck off into the hills alone.
Yes? Go on.
Weeks it was we travelled, Daniel and me. First there wasn't no roads, and after a while, no food. But there was always the drums. Sometimes they was close, and sometimes farther off. Most of the time we could hear them somewhere.
Move along there! Yeah, now. It's no place to be stopping. Up with you.
I'm fearing it's no use, Daniel.
What's got into them?
Well, the poor beasts are done in and starved, same as ourselves. They'll go no further.
Then we'll go on without him. I've not come this far to die on the side of a mountain.
Hey, wait. Look, Daniel. Over the edge of them rocks.
What? Oh, men they are.
Yes, there's a score or more of them. And one goes ahead of the rest.
In naught but bows and arrows. Break out a pair of the rifles, Peachy.
Right you are, Daniel.
It's now that we start to become kings.
Here you are. And some cartridges, too.
Easy now, Peachy. I'll drop the straggler at the rear first.
Then we'll lay a few at their feet. No harm to the one in front. We may need him. Now, got him by the old... Lay on, Peachy.
Hold it, Daniel. Look at him.
Flat on their bloomin' faces.
It's their leader. He's coming out alone.
Well and good. And we'll go part way to meet him, Peachy. But keep your rifle by.
Look at him, Daniel. He's as fair as us, with yellow hair.
So he is. Part of the lost tribes, these people are.
He stopped.
I await your command, O ye who speak with the voice of thunder.
By the Lord Harry, Peachy, we're in luck. It's the old Afghan tongue he speaks. Speak up. Who are you and whence do you come?
I am High Priest and the chief of the village of Bashkai. A journey of only a few heartbeats.
This Bashkai, how many people?
They are numbered in the thousands.
There are more villages in the hills.
More than a man has fingers and toes.
You hear that, Peachy? Here's our kingdom made to order. And you're going to take us to Bashkai, do you understand?
I understand the voice of thunder that you speak.
Ooh, he's a smooth one, Peachy. He knows a thing or two. What's your name?
Mazur Khan Jagdalur.
Yeah, it's too long. Hey, what will we call him, Peachy?
He has the look about him of an old soldiering friend of ours. Billy Fish.
So he does. We bestow a name on you. From now on, you'll be Billy Fish. And put this on your drums. Tell 'em 2 kings have come out of the mountaintops. 2 kings that speak in words of thunder, so the earth trembles. Tell 'em 2 kings have come to Kafiristan. That you, Peachy?
Daniel? Why are you sitting out here in the dark?
I've been thinking. Man has to stop and think sometimes.
But anything special, Daniel?
Look at him, Peachy. Look at that blinking campfires a gleaming in the dark, like the jewels in a crown.
Yes, Daniel. You've done a fine job for sure. All 23 villages you joined together as one.
Yeah, 'tis the army you trained to be thanked for it. 2,000 men with a fair knowledge of bearing arms.
Some of 'em's a bit green at it yet.
Yeah, they're ours now. Every man, jack, woman, and child. We own 'em, body and soul.
Yes. We're kings now, Daniel. Not proper kings yet, but we will be.
Yeah, sooner than you think, Peachy.
How's that?
Now, Billy Fish told me something today that fair amazed me. These people know the craft.
You mean they're Freemasons? Daniel, it ain't possible.
So help me, it's gospel true. He give the grip and everything. It's old, the craft is. Older than the memory of man. And up here in the hills, they've been preserving it all these years. Why, some of the high priests know up through the philocraft, but they don't know the 3rd degree. You see it, Peachy? They don't know the 3rd degree, but we do.
Daniel, what is it you're fixing to do?
Do? We're going to be proper kings. We got 'em going and coming now. I'm going to turn the whole country into one grand lodge, raise some of the priests to the 3rd degree. And for me, I'll be the Grand Master of Kafiristan.
No, you ain't got the right to. We've never been officers in no lodge.
Right. What's a king got to do with asking for a right?
I'm against it, Daniel. It's no good to go fooling around with the craft.
You talk like an old woman. The thing'll work, I know it will. We'll make it a bloomin' ceremony. Regular aprons with the symbols and the marks. All for us, Peachy. The kings of Kafiristan.
Everything is prepared, Master, and the priests and the people wait.
Well, they haven't much longer, Billy. Yeah, now, Peachy, how do you like my apron?
It's a wondrous sight for fair, Daniel.
Made of white almond skin it is, and the master's mark with emerald studded.
The mark? You know the meaning of the mark?
That I do. What's got into you, Billy?
'Tis a thing that's passing strange, Master.
Yeah, strange and rubbish. Come along now. Ready, Peachy?
Right with you, Daniel.
Then out we go, onto the temple steps. We'll give 'em what for. Knock the blinking eyes out, that's what we'll do. Look at 'em, Peachy.
right down on their bloomin' knees and yelling their fool heads all.
Oh, it's a good thing to be a king, Daniel.
The mark! Behold the mark!
'Tis a sign. The promised ones have come.
Yeah, now. What's wrong with the priest, Billy?
It looks like trouble, Daniel.
No. Stand where you are, master. They recognize the mark.
Yeah, that great stone in the floor. Why did they turn it over?
Wait.
It's the same.
He bears the mark.
The promised
Speak up,
ones
Billy Fish.
have
What's the
come.
meaning of it?
See for yourself.
Daniel. Carved on the back of the stone.
'Tis the master's mark, all right.
And the same as the sign you wear. Only a few of the priests have known of the hidden mark on the stone.
What does it mean?
The many who have doubted you are a god doubt no longer.
And you, Billy, what do you think?
I, master? I think that now it is the time for these.
Ooh. Daniel! Golden crowns!
Aye, how they glitter! Fit for the brow of the king!
It's what we came for!
Here now, put 'em on! We'll crown ourselves in our own right. Ah, listen to 'em. You know something, Peachy? We come here to be kings, and that we are, all right. But blamed if we ain't a couple of bloomin' gods to boot, with 1,000,000 people bowing on their knees afore us.
Well enough, Peachy. So it was gods you became, as well as kings. But then what happened? What became of Daniel Dravitt?
Dravitt? I knew Daniel Dravitt once. He's a king now, Daniel is. Wears a golden crown. Carnane was with him.
Peachy, try to pull yourself together now.
Yes, I'll try.
Good. Now you became kings, you and Daniel. Kings of all Kafiristan.
He was a fine figure, Daniel was. With his red head wearing that golden crown. He kept himself aloof from the people, so to speak. When he walked out in front of the temple, they fair to crawled on their stomachs to worship him.
Yes, but what happened, man?
What happened? Well, I figure mostly it was winter coming on. The winds was starting up and clouds was blowing down from the north. Oh, it could blow beastly cold, that winter wind.
Who's out there? That you, Billy? Confound it anyway. Here now, watch this.
I have brought you food, master. Stew of the wild sheep with curry and rice.
Oh, up off your knees, girl. Bring it inside.
Thank you, master.
Place it there. Now. You're a well-favored wench.
I do not understand.
Why are you crawling on your knees?
'Tis a fitting way to approach the god of Kafiristan.
What's your name, girl?
Marum of Denjab.
Marum, huh? You married?
It has not yet been my happy fortune, master.
You afraid of me?
You are a god.
Yeah, I mean, how do I seem to you? You find me pleasing or what?
Your face is more wondrous than the noonday sun. And your look, the look of eagles.
Well, very well. You may leave now.
Thank you, master.
Marum, huh? Peachy! Peachy!
Oh, was you calling me, Daniel? Oh, the food's here, eh? Ah, good.
Mark that wind outside. You know, winter's about due to strike and fill the passes with snow. There'll be little moving about before spring.
Yeah, you're right.
Peachy, I decided to take a wife.
But you can't do it, Daniel. We made a contract.
That was till we was kings. Well, kings we've been these many months now.
It's no good. I tell you now, I'm against it.
Against it? You was against using the craft, too, but look what it done for us.
This is different. Billy Fish will tell you no, the same as I do.
Billy Fish? There. Who's the king here, him or me? My mind's made up. 3 days from now, I shall have me a wife. And you can put it on the drums and tell every blighter out there in the hills. The kingdom of Kafiristan is gonna have a queen. What's keeping her, Peachy? They should have brought her in half an hour ago.
I don't know, Daniel.
How about you, Billy Fish? You put 'em up to stolen oath? Deliberate like?
Certain preparations must be made, Master.
She's across the court with some of the priests. Maybe they're trying to buck her up a bit, Daniel. She thinks she's going to die, you know.
Ah, die indeed. Why, I
Master, it is against the laws of heaven for a woman to marry a god.
I'm not a god, I'm a man. You know that by now, Billy.
No, and I should not want to think so, Master. But either way, this can mean only trouble. I beg you to reconsider.
And I beg you to keep your mouth shut, Billy. I'm through waiting. I'm going over there to talk to the
Master,
priest.
please. Oh, we've got to go with him, Billy. I think it's going to mean trouble, but come on. How many men can you depend on?
No more than 20 with rifles. Most of my men are in Bashkai.
Then what shall we do?
We shall have to make a run for it, I fear. We might be safe in Bashkai.
Oh, now, you bungling fools. Bring out the girl. Huh. Well, now, that's better. Here, girl. This is no way for a bride to behave. Oh, smile now. And give us a kiss. Oh! The wench has bitten me.
Blood, Master. Don't let them see the blood.
Look! See the blood! He's not a god or a devil, but only a man!
Here, blasted! What is this rot?
Master, it is too late.
Back, Daniel. They're coming with knives.
They can't do this. I am the king.
We must run for it, Master.
Come on, Daniel. Come on.
Confounded heathens. I'll come back. I'll come back and beat the blasted heads in. That's what I'll do.
Yes, Daniel. Yeah, we'll be back, all right.
How much further, Billy?
Only a short way beyond this ridge, Master.
Well, so far, so good. Huh. At least them bloomin' drums has stopped.
Well, we're at the top, Daniel.
Yeah. And a right good climb it's been.
Wait.
Huh?
Look. It seems the drums have come before us, Master.
Cut off. No less than 1,000 of them. Standing there quiet like, with them wicked long knives in their hands.
There'll be no getting past them, Daniel.
No. We're done for. Go back, Billy Fish. Take your men away with you. Go with him, Peachy. It's me they want. I did it. Me, the king.
No, Dan. I'm sticking with you. Billy Fish, you clear out.
I am your friend. I stay with you.
You're a good man, Billy.
They're coming now, Daniel.
Peachy.
Forget it, Daniel. I forgive you. Freely, fully.
Then let them come. There be one thing they can't change, Peachy. We've been kings. Kings in our own right. Kings of all Kafiristan.
Yes. It sliced open poor Billy Fish like a blooming herring, I did. There in the snow and the rocks.
Good Lord, man. But you, Peachy, you got away from them.
Got away from him, did I? Oh, no. They strung me out on a tree. They drove nails right through my hands, did you? See? Look, see? But I fooled them all right. Because the morning come and I wasn't dead. And then I made them think I'd lost me senses. And they was afraid to harm me because I was protected by Allah. They cut me down then, and after a while they let me go.
You poor devil. What of Dravin? What happened to Daniel?
Daniel? Daniel's a king. He wears a golden crown.
No. Now, what happened to him?
He's never left me. All them long months. Walking on the road back, he kept me safe. The mountains, they danced at night, but Daniel held up his hand, and Peachy came along bent double. I never let go of Daniel's hand. Hey, he's with me now. Here in this bundle. You knew old Daniel, sir, him that was a monarch once. Look at him now.
Oh.
Well, now you've seen that we was really kings, I'll be on my way. You'll pardon me, sir?
I let him go. There was little else to do. He was only hours away from his death. I sat there and stared at the bundle he had left lying on my desk. Stared as the pale shafts of dawn struck fire in the red beard. Stared at the golden crown sitting too large and heavy upon the wrinkled, mummified head of Daniel Dravett, the man who would be king.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Tonight we have brought you The Man Who Would Be King by Rudyard Kipling, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Featured in tonight's cast were Ben Wright and Wilms Herbert, with John Daner, Peggy Weber, and Jack Crucian. Special music by Ivan Ditmars. Next week...
You are trapped in the dark streets of a French town, with only 2 remaining avenues of escape. The workshop of a fearsome knife maker, or the arms of a dangerous woman. While behind you, hunting you through the dark night, swirls a mob of men, eager for your capture.
Next week, we escape with Vincent Starrett's strange story, The Fugitive. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
That's your old-time radio fix for this week. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Be sure to subscribe to The Chronic Rift on iTunes or visit us frequently at chronicrift.com.
Hit it! Ding, a dink-a-doo, a dink-a-dee, a dink-a-doo. What a voice! What a voice! Simply means ink. A dink-a-doo, a dink-a-dee. Good night, folks. Signing off.
And now, Sharp, Let me introduce you to Brother Peachy Carnahan, which is him, and Brother Daniel Dravert, which is I. The less said about our professions, the better, for we have been most things in our time. We've been all over India. We know her cities, her jungles, her jails, and her palaces. And we have decided that she isn't big enough for such as we.
Yes, that's what I understood the commissioner to say.
Therefore, we are going away to another place, where a man isn't crowded and can come into his own. We're not little men, so we're going away to be kings. Kings of Kafiristan.
Oh, Kafiristan.
We hear they have 32 idols there, so we'll be the 33rd and 34th.
It's a place of warring tribes, which is to say, a land of opportunity for such as we, who know how to train men and lead them into battle.
We'll go there. We'll say to any chief we can find, do you want to vanquish your foes? Of course he'll say, go to it. We'll fight for him, make him king, then we'll subvert that king. We'll seize his royal throne and loot the country 4 ways from Sunday.
How's that for a plan?
You're both out of your minds.